Hello friends, welcome to your own YouTube channel Achievers Data Engineering. My name is Gyanendra and this is part 6 of most Ask SQL interview questions and answer series. In this video, we are going to discuss about a fairly common interview question and answer which is like relevant for both experienced and freshers. So this question is nothing but related to indexes. So the question that we are going to discuss about is what is the difference between clustered and non-clustered index. So let's get started. To make it easy to understand the difference between clustered index and non-clustered index, I have put together this table to compare. Now there are different features based on which we can compare these two indexes. Starting with the definition of indexes, clustered index determine the physical order of the data in the table, whereas non-clustered index separate structure with pointers to the data rows. Now this means is when we are defining a clustered index, it will define the physical order of data in the table itself, whereas in case of non-clustered index, a separate structure with the pointers to the main data will be stored somewhere else, right? So it will not physically change the order of existing data in the table. Talking about storage, now because in clustered index, it is physically changing the order of data. There is nothing saved in a separate space. So, data will be stored in the table itself. However, in case of non-clustered index is stored separately from the data. So there would be some storage occupied. Talking about the order, clustered index alters the physical order of the data based on whatever order we are defining, ascending or descending based on a column. It will alter the physical order of the data, whereas non-clustered index does not affect the physical order because pointers are getting saved somewhere else, right? Now, number of indexes we can apply. In case of a single table, we can have only one clustered index, obviously, because clustered index is specifying the physical order of the data, so we can have only one order. Whereas in case of non-clustered index, we can have multiple non-clustered index created in a single table, depending upon number of columns we have. Now, talking about primary key, this is very interesting point. If we are defining a primary key in a specific column within a table, then it will automatically create a clustered index. Now we can manually create it also, but if there is no clustered index defined and we are creating a primary key constraint, then it will automatically create a clustered index. Same goes with the non-clustered index. We can create non-clustered index manually also, whereas if we are creating unique key constraint, then it will automatically create non-clustered index in the table. So this is to keep in mind. In case of primary key, it will be created automatically, and in case of unique constraint, non-clustered index will be created automatically. Performance wise, clustered index will be way much faster because it is physically sorting the data, so the data retrieval will be very faster. Non-clustered index is useful for the queries that do not involve primary key. So let's say we are frequently using some other column other than the primary key, then we can go with a non-clustered index into that. Storage space, as discussed in the first point itself, clustered index is sorting the data itself, so data is stored in the index itself, so no additional space required here, whereas non-clustered index required some additional storage space because pointers are getting saved somewhere else. Talking about use cases, best for the columns that are frequently searched and sorted both. All right, whereas in case of non-clustered index, best uses would be for the columns which are searched but not sorted. Let's say we are applying some where condition frequently on a column, we can go for a non-clustered index on that column. All right, so this is a comparison in short. Now let's get into SQL and we'll see this in practical. All right, to get started, I will just go ahead and create this sample sales table. And as you can observe here, there is no primary key created, or there is no, let me just refresh this, maybe Object Explorer. Let me just show it here right now. Here's the sample sales table. So right now you can see there is no index created, there is no primary key created as of now, and there are no constraint or anything that is not created. So how can we create a clustered index? We can simply write the syntax, that would be create clustered index. We can define a proper name, so we can say index, then we can say sample sales table name, and based on this table structure, let's say we are going to create this index on sales ID itself, so I'll just say sales ID. Then on here we need to define the table name, so again sample sales, then in parentheses we need to define the column name, so sales ID, and in what order we want to do that, so maybe I will say just ascending order. So right now I can just it's sale ID, not the sales ID, sorry. I can just go ahead and execute it, And now if I just go ahead and refresh this table again and expand the indexes, then you can see here a clustered index is created. So this is how we can create a clustered index. Now other way around, as I mentioned in the beginning, if we are creating a primary key, so for now let me just go ahead and comment this out, and let me recreate this table. Let me drop this table. I'll just go ahead and drop this table. And if I just go ahead and recreate this table, and this time I mention that it's a primary key, and if I just go ahead and rerun this create statement, now this time let me just go ahead and refresh this again. Now if I expand this one, here you can see it's a primary key created, and if I go ahead and expand this index, then this time you will be able to see index is automatically created by SQL, which is based on that primary key. So you can see a random name and number is assigned, and it's automatically created by SQL because we created a primary key. Alright, now in similar fashion we can just go ahead and create a non-clustered index also within this table. So syntax is going to be the same. We just need to mention it's a non-clustered index, and here we can select, let's say, a different, let's say we are creating out of the sales date, because in sales data we might be filtering a lot of dates based on lots of dates. And same thing I can say here, sale date, actually not the sales date, my bad again. So again I'll just say and execute, and let me refresh this table. Now if I expand the index, here you can see one more index is created, and it says non-unique non-clustered index, right? So this is how we can create a non-clustered index. Now furthermore, as we discussed, as by creating the primary key it creates a clustered index, in similar fashion if we are creating a unique constraint, then it will also create a non-clustered index automatically. So for now let me just go ahead and again drop this table, and this time let's say if I'm saying here it's a unique, I'm just defining that, let's say product ID is going to be unique. And if I just go ahead and recreate this table, now if I just go ahead and refresh, now this time if I just expand this and expand the indexes, here this time you can see this particular clustered index is automatically created because there was a primary key, and this particular non-clustered index is automatically created because we defined a unique constraint here, and that's why in this details you can see it's unique and non-clustered index. Alright, I hope this is very informative, and based on this you will be able to distinguish what is the difference between clustered index and non-clustered index. So point to be remembered here is, when we are creating clustered index, it will physically sort the data and it will be way faster as compared to the non-clustered index. And non-clustered index will not physically sort the data, but it will rather save the pointer somewhere else, similar to dictionary. I mean, I don't need to get into the details. You understand like how index works now. So I hope it was helpful to understand. If you still have any question, please do let me know in the comments. I would love to answer that. Thank you so much. Thank you for watching. Keep learning. Have a great day.